So, Tony, tell us what's in the sky in January.
Well, stars.
Airplanes.
Well, for a long, long time I was telling you to look for the bright planets in the evening sky, but there are no bright planets left in the evening sky. They've all moved around. But there are beautiful constellations. I hope you'll all take a chance in the early evening, the moon's gone, and if you can, go out to some nice dark place. How many of you already can recognize the constellation Orion here? Okay, good. But if you're not familiar with it, in the eastern sky, as it gets dark, you'll see these 3 stars in a row that make the belt of Orion. And it's also surrounded by a big rectangle that makes the shoulders and knees of this mythological hunter. It's all an imaginary thing, but it helps us remember. And
it's also a lot easier in the city lights because you don't get all these other nuisance stars around.
Nuisance stars.
They're the brightest ones.
And if you have binoculars, look below the belt, and you'll discover the Orion Nebula. That's actually one of the things that got me really interested because I found it totally by accident when I was about 7 years old. And I knew it must be the Orion Nebula. So anyway, I hope it's clear tomorrow morning, because if it is, you'll see an amazing sight. The planet Jupiter is the brightest thing you'll see if you look in the southeast. And right next to it is a kind of a bright orange dot. That's the planet Mars. And there'll be only about 1/3 the diameter of the moon, actually 1/4 of the diameter of the moon apart from each other tomorrow morning.
What time do we have to be up for that, Tony?
6 in the morning, you can see it.
Oh, that's not so bad.
It's not so bad. It's dark late now.
Yeah.
Also, people are beginning to observe these planets. Here's a nice amateur view of Mars. And this is ridiculously small still. You need like 600 power to see any detail through a telescope. But technology is improving quite noticeably fast. And this would have passed for a great image of Mars like maybe 30 years ago when it's close to the Earth. So here's what we see in the morning. This is tomorrow morning. And here's what you see is Jupiter and Mars right next to each other. So you can't miss them. And this is what it would look like through a telescope. You'll see Jupiter, its moons, and tiny Mars in the same field of view. By the 11th, the moon will join these objects, and you'll see how they've moved. And finally, other planets become visible later in the month. And Jupiter, Mars, Antares, which is a bright star in Scorpius, the Scorpion, which means the rival of Mars because it's the same color. And also you'll pick up Saturn down below. Saturn was hidden by the sun. Actually, it still is right now, but by the end of this week, you'll be able to see it. January is very moon-dominated. We started the month with full moon, and we'll end the month with a full moon. That's something called a blue moon when you have 2 moons in the same calendar month.
The first one was a supermoon.
Yeah, the first one was, yeah, I hope you saw that. No.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, a lot is made of supermoons. As you probably know, the moon varies in distance by as much as 14% over the course of its orbit. And when a full moon happens, when it's closest to the Earth, it's 14% bigger than it could be if it's far, far away. Of course, it's only 7% bigger than the average, and these distances change very gradually from month to month. So I don't think most people go, wow, it's a supermoon tonight. You could go, wow, it's a full moon, because full moons are always kind of very beautiful. The other special thing is that the blue moon of January, which, by the way, robs the short month, February, of any full moon. There will be no full moon in February. And then there'll be another blue moon in March. It's an occasion of the eclipse. So, yeah. So early in the morning.
So wake up, Larry.
And it's only a day away from being another supermoon, so I think of it as kind of a pretty good moon. It's not super.
Oh, okay. It's pretty good. That's right. So blue moon obviously is famous. Okay. And then the eclipse, this is kind of the formal diagram showing what's going on, but we'll be able to see most of it. It'll set just before it comes out of the dark shadow. So
Drifter in the dark.
Still be.
What did you say?
Drifter in the dark.
Oh. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
But only because you know
Yeah,
Ween.
of course.
I like it.
Somebody know Ween. Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, this will be a good opportunity to actually see the lineup that occurs, because as the moon sets, the sun will be rising directly opposite. So if you wave, you might see your shadow on the moon. You know.